Yeah.
Hmm.
See what else did I fucking highlight? I highlighted a bunch of shit. Oh, there's also one that says, "I thank the gods, for that my children may not have been stupid."
Yeah, or mentally defective and stuff
Or
too. Yeah.
yeah,
Or
or
like yeah,
deformed in the
or
body, which is
deformed,
like,
yeah.
okay, little ableist, but also like, I mean, appreciate it.
In a
It's
way,
like, thanks
yeah,
for
that's a
not
good thing.
making them dumb.
Yeah. Yes, they came out not. I can't say the R word.
Yeah. It's like, again, little ableist, but also, I also don't blame him at the same time. It's appreciating life and people they love. It's like, I'm glad you can be the best you or whatever,
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Dude, that must suck. Like, imagine if you're a parent and like you had a kid that was like had like some abnormalities and stuff that made him really just like made life suck for the kid. That would suck.
Hmm.
Especially if you like later learn that's like,
Yeah.
oh, this happened because you were deficient in this nutrient or something. You're like, fuck, I could have prevented that.
Yup. Oh, especially if it's that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like a number one thing with mental illness too, where it's just like, oh, you came out perfect, but then we accidentally fucked you up with our own vices, and oops, now
Mm-hmm.
we took this perfectly good person, and now I gotta like
Now your brain is
unravel
mashed
all this shit.
potatoes.
Yeah.
You watch too
That's
much
how you get
Nickelodeon.
furries, damn it. Yeah.
That's too far. I want to pull on his whiskers, his big ass whiskers.
Respect to the things which must be done for public interest in a manner that benefits a
Hmm.
ruler. Also banger. Oh yeah, if it is possible for a man to live in a palace without wanting either guards nor embroidered dresses or torches and statues, which
Mm-hmm.
is ironic being that we're in a library that's based on Castlevania.
This is
Hmm.
based on Castlevania. That's funny.
Yeah. I read the credits and like apparently a lot of the textures and stuff were like from Castlevania Symphony of the Night or one of
Oh,
those.
okay.
I haven't played Castlevania, so I didn't recognize it, but I thought,
I thought it was just like a
yeah,
low bit like library.
yeah, I thought they made it like I was like going over it, and I'm like, wow, they did a really good job. But I mean, somebody did a really good job, even if it wasn't them. They did
Mm-hmm.
some of the paintings though out there, so they know how to do art.
Oh wait, what? They did paintings? That's kind of funny.
Yeah, in one of the other rooms, they have like some paintings, and if you hover over, it's like credit to me, the
Hmm.
world builder.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and then they're actually kind of banger. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And such like show.
Huh. I'm just looking at the
Yeah.
tables because
But
that's
yeah.
the biggest one is like I think six people over. I think on that one. Like we're gonna have a
Hmm.
maximum
Hmm.
of 6 people in the book club. I
So
like I like
one
the
thing I
persona.
do have a question about,
Hmm.
where he mentions like true philosophers versus people who pretended to be philosophers.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I first read it, I was like, is this a no true Scotsman, or is were the people who are pretending to be philosophers like an issue?
Yeah, so what they call them,
Where
they call them like sophists, and basically sophistry is just you pretend to be a philosopher, you
is
pretend to
that
be like a knowledgeable wise man, and you have like a flowery language and stuff, but you don't actually have any of the wisdom or knowledge. So they like,
oh, so
they're
he's
like a oil
British.
like a oil salesman type thing, like what,
Okay.
like the British.
Yeah, like
So
the
faking
British,
it.
where they'll get a bunch of fancy jewels and fancy houses and fill it with a bunch of artifacts from various parts of Africa and whatever,
Mhm.
and they'll be all like, "I'm so well versed and knowledgeable," but if you ask them about anything, they're like,
They're like 2 plus 2 equals 5.
I'm not actually wise at all. I just have a shit ton of stuff."
Yeah, that's basically what a sophist is. It's like it's someone who's trying to have
Hmm.
the appearance of like a wise philosopher, and but they don't have any of the content. They're just like the appearance.
Okay, I can think of of a couple of those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this tracks. Oh, and right under there, there's another bit that I liked where he was also talking about his dad.
Hmm.
He took reasonable care of his body, not as one who is greatly attached to life, or out of regard for personal appearance, or yet in careless ways,
Hmm.
Hmm.
but so that through his own personal or through his own attention, he rarely ever had to go to the doctor.
Yeah, I like that
So
one
it's just
too.
like, hey man, take care of yourself. It doesn't have to be for any reason.
Hmm.
Hell, it could even be not even to make yourself live longer,
Hmm.
just make it so that you can enjoy the present better. Which is
Yeah.
like, dude, that fucking rules. That's such a
Hmm.
good thing. That's
Yeah.
like a new perspective for me. Because like every other thing is like live longer, look healthier,
Hmm.
blah 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 blah. It's like how about just be more comfortable?
It's like, oh, you can have a 6 pack and you can be cool, you can get all the babes, but it's like that's just those goals like suck, especially if you don't really see gains like fast. Then a lot of people who have like those vanity gains, they just like stop working out. It That's why everyone
Hmm.
like New Year's they go there for like 1 or 2 months and then they just stop exercising because like, oh, I'm not
Hmm.
shredded, I'm not a
I'm
babe
like,
magnet.
yeah, but it's like, are you feeling more comfortable? Are you
Yeah,
feeling less achy in certain areas?
yeah,
Do walks not make you tired? That's why you do it. You
yeah,
know, just be more comfortable.
yeah, and just like build up your strength and be like, oh, okay, can you go through a regular day without being exhausted at the end of the day now? And do you have more
Yeah.
energy for activities and stuff? It's like that's a pretty good
Hmm.
benefit.
Or like if you eat nice, it makes your tummy feel better and not grumbly, like you have a rock in it. Like,
Yeah, and
yeah,
you
True.
don't have to go
Yeah,
into like
food
a
makes a
do it for
diabetic
difference.
that.
coma for like 2 hours after eating
Hmm.
every time.
Yup. Yeah, I liked that. Again, especially the not as one who is greatly attached to life.
Mm-hmm. He's like,
Like, I don't
life
care
or
if I die
whatever.
tomorrow. I'm eating
Yeah,
healthy.
life's whatever.
Life's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
He also said he overcame all passion for boys, which I'm not sure if it's like a
I
translation error
didn't know what that means.
or
Like, I was like, what the hell? What the
or
hell
if
does
that
that
was
mean?
like a thing that they had to deal with in Rome, or something he overcame, which I mean, all in all, it sounded
I
like
have
he
no
wanted to
idea.
overcome it and he did. Good job. Whatever it
Yeah.
was, in whatever context.
Yeah, I read that line and I was like, okay, I don't understand what he's talking about. I'm like, I'm just gonna move on. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. It's never brought up anywhere else. That's the only time it's mentioned is just an addendum to like some other sentence, just like, oh yeah, he did this. Anyway, we're moving on.
Anyways, I'm gay, but I got over that. Or whatever that
See, that
means.
was the thing. I couldn't. First, I was like, wait, is this homophobic? And I'm like, wait, it says boys, not man.
Hmm.
Anyway.
Maybe he was a boy at the time, and it's like I don't know. Maybe it's normal for them to like boys when they're boys themselves. I have no idea.
I mean, that's just exploration, baby. That's just having fun.
It's gay.
Yes, and
It wouldn't be surprising because the Romans really liked the Greeks, and the Greeks were gay as hell.
true. I mean, he praised Greek living
Hmm.
like a couple times.
Yeah, he says like, "Oh, I like the Grecian," or I forget exactly what the words were, but he says he like talks fondly about like the Grecians, the Greeks.
Yeah. I think he wrote it like Greco. It was like a different word. It was something
Yeah,
that basically means Grecian, but he wrote it as in like some other fucking thing, which
yeah,
I just in my head rewrote to Grecian.
yeah. The takeaway I got from it was just like, oh, he likes the Greeks and stuff, and they're
He
something he's
likes
fond
Greeks.
of. Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Hmm.
but he doesn't like boys anymore.
Doesn't like boys anymore.
He
Oh,
likes
and
the
he
Greece,
and
doesn't like boys
right
anymore.
underneath. Yeah. And considered himself no more than any other citizen, and released his friends from all obligation to sup with him or to attend him of necessity
Hmm.
when he went abroad, which I think is like that's nice. 'Cause like you know how many times you go to like a fur con and you want to hang out with every single friend ever. Speaking of having, a bunch of friends or whatever, and why having a small group can be really nice and a lot less stress.
Hmm.
But like, when you go somewhere, or even if you run into like the same city as somebody and you're like, oh hey, we're next to each other. That doesn't mean you're obligated to like go out to dinner, but yeah.
Yeah. I get you.
Hmm.
And I think it
I
just
don't have that
makes it easier
problem.
for everybody else.
I don't have that
Right.
problem. I have like
Somebody
go-to.
somewhere will relate to it.
Yeah.
I have friends that have a lot of friends and they run into the whole like I know I want to hang with everyone. I didn't hang with everyone. It's like they're not it's okay. You're not obligated to hang with everybody. It's
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. If you hang with the people that you can and
Hmm.
I don't know, keep in touch with anyone you want to keep in touch with.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. You should definitely focus on the few people that are important in your life, and not try to like spread yourself thin across like everybody.
Also that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yup, yup, yup.
Any input, Joseph? Any thoughts?
Hmm. Yeah, don't waste your time with people that don't even not so much care for you, but that aren't important in your life.
Oh,
Just focus only on what the most important.
that was a thing from another book. They said something along the lines of like, imagine a room with like 10 people, and in that room there's gonna be one person that hates you like no matter what, and there's gonna be 7 people that don't care about you at all, like they're just completely indifferent to you, and there's gonna be 2 people in that room that actually care about you and like you, and the question is like, which group of people do you focus on?
That's a really good thought experiment, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because,
that's
like,
from one of the other books we
yeah,
read.
I mean,
that's
don't
sort
waste your
of
time on
answer.
people that don't care about you, and then there's no point of like worrying about what was. If someone hates you, there's no point in fucking working yourself up in
Yeah.
worrying about them. You should always focus on the people that care about you, that care for you and are close to you.
Yeah.
hmm And if it's only one person that hates you and 2 people that like you, that's 3v1.
Mm-hmm.
Kick
Just
his
beat
ass.
him up. Beat him up.
Yeah, if they want to start beef, give them something to beef about. Well, no, I mean, if confronted, asterisk.
When they have their
No
back
need to
turned.
start shit. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Jump him! Jump him!
Don't sucker punch him now.
Beat his ass. You got 2 friends, so one holds his legs, one holds his arms, and you work him out.
Just kick him.
Yeah.
Kick him on the ground. What's that one JoJo clip that everyone posts where it's 2 people kicking someone, someone walks up and just starts joining the friends kicking this dude?
That's funny. Sounds like a skit.
It really feels like a skit. Because you think they're gonna say something like, oh, we shouldn't, and they just
Oh, stop
join
beating
the
that guy up. That's
stomping.
so bad. It's like, no, let me.
I
in
got
there.
one friend that's like that. If he were to see me fighting or doing anything, he'd jump in on it too. So
A real ride or die homie.
Imagine if it's just like a stranger. He just like joins in and starts beating him up too. And it's like, why do you beat him up? Like, I don't know. It looked like fun.
Valid. Yup. I have
Yep.
one. I think I have like one left of
Okay.
thing I highlighted. Uh, It was right after the thank the gods for making my brothers not stupid
Mhm.
line. It's he mentions regret of not making more proficiency in rhetoric, poetry, or whatever, and things that are artsy, because he wasn't fully engaged in it because he felt like he wasn't making progress.
I thought he said it was a good thing he didn't
And
get into those things.
so I read it. I had to read that a couple times to try to like parse it, and I feel it reads more like regret of, oh man, I I feel I could have done a lot better in this if I really felt like I was doing anything good in it. Like if I liked my own work or if I've set standards. because it isn't like the list of things of thank the gods for not stuff. So it really reads initially like, oh, thank you for not making me good at poetry, which I think that sounded a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
But then right after it's like, in which I perhaps should have been completely engaged if I had seen I was making progress
Hmm.
in them.
I got you. Yeah, the general idea that
Yeah.
I got from it, which maybe I like misread, is like I thought he was like, oh, thankfully I didn't get into artsy stuff because it would like distract me from my like duties of a ruler and stuff like that. That's what I got.
Fair
but-
point.
Yeah.
That could have been it as well. I think maybe it was like a thanks for making me not good at this, but
Yeah.
I feel I would have been good at this if
Mm-hmm.
I felt I was making progress, which again makes me feel like it's a bit more longing, but at the end of the day, like thankful because you could put more time into study,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is a little weird because the arts aids you in the conveyance of your studies. So, you know,
Unless you're a furry artist.
I mean,
then you're working backwards.
furry art is art.
It is.
You learn so much about anatomy and oh, and then he often I live next to several, yes.
Dark
Um,
crazy.
But he also goes on about procrastination, which I heavily resonate with.
I think everyone
Or he's
relates
first
with that
because
nowadays.
yeah,
I
this was right
procrastinate a
after he's
lot.
going on. It's like I would have done so much better in art if I felt like I was making progress. Because A, that's literally me. I drew so much in school, and then I stopped because I'm like, I feel like I've plateaued.
Mm.
And then, you know, I look at that again. I'm like, wait, I'm a fucking idiot. There was a steady line going upwards, and I just stopped because I'm dumb.
Mm.
And then regret that he like, oh shit, actually highlighted something on accident. Oops. Lost my page. Hold on. Buffering.
No.
Buffering.
The ancient tome has been
Opening
lost.
off.
Lost to time.
Yup. I made haste to place those who brought me up in the station of honor which they seemed to desire without putting them off with hope of my doing it sometime after. Because they were still then young. Yeah. And then that's him going on about like, I should have given these people more respect, but I didn't know any better. But specifically regrets like, or he explicitly mentions putting it off with the hope that future him would do it,
Mhm.
which is like, I'm kind of glad I read it because it's like, man, it's not just me. We've been doing this for literally since ancient times. Oh, future me will take care of it.
Yeah.
I feel that's so ingrained in human nature now.
That's Monday me's
Of
problem.
just, yeah, it's like, yeah, I'll put it off and I'll do it later.
Mhm. And then never get around to it because you forget about it.
And then never do it. Yep.
Yeah.
And instead have to write 10 books saying, I love my friends, I love my friends, I love my friends.
He's losing it. He's just writing.
Yep.
Mhm.
He also calls his wife simple, and I don't know what that means.
Maybe she just doesn't need a whole bunch.
I think
Maybe she's just a simple person.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that kind of simple or like simple as in modest and doesn't require luxury goods to be happy.
I think it's probably the latter.
You-
Honestly, I don't think he's calling her like
Yeah.
dumb. I
Yeah.
think he's just saying that it's like she only has like basic needs and she doesn't have any like complex weird needs and stuff that going on.
Some people have.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What's the... At the very end, it says, among the quadi of the granua, which I almost said granola. But what's the... Do you know what that is? The quadi of the granua?
Oh, are you
Quane
talking about
at the
that the
Granua.
very last line at the end?
Yeah, the very last line, and I'm like,
I
I don't
had
know what that is.
I have no idea. The only thing that came to mind is I thought maybe it's like he's saying where he wrote this. That's like maybe a physical place, like where he wrote that
Oh,
first
like
book.
from the desk of.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking of. Maybe.
Maybe. I wonder if it's mentioned in any of the other ones. Well, let me flip to the end.
Yeah, I have no clue because I it did.
Oh, yeah, it is, because at the end of book 2 it says, this in Carnut. Oh, oh man, that's a lot of U's and N's. Where do the U's start and the N's begin? Carnuntum. Carnuntum. This in Carnuntum.
Hmm.
So I think it's literally like, I wrote this here.
Yeah, I wrote this at like this place. That's what I came to mind when I read that because it didn't make any other
I think
sense
you're
any other
right.
way. Cool.
Yar.
You
I
guys
think
have-
we've dissected.
Yeah,
I mean, I've dissected everything I dissected already. I'm not sure if there's much left.
I don't think so.
There's also a time where he says Among Us, which I also highlighted for some reason.
Among Us. It's the hit
It
Among
just-
Us.
It's like a habit. He says it was when he was talking about Fronto.
Hmm.
I learned to observe what envy and duplicity and hypocrisy are in a tyrant, and that generally those among us who are called patricians
Oh.
patricians are deficient in paternal affection,
Mhm.
basically calling out tyrants for having fatherless behavior.
Mhm. Father the speed. Smash. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, you guys have any closing thoughts?
Mm.
No thoughts.
No thoughts, head empty.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this dude came. He's clearly privileged as shit. You know, this. I feel this is definitely from the mind of a very well-off, comfortable, gated community noble type.
Mm-hmm.
But at the very least, he seems incredibly down to earth, instead of like giving into luxury or giving into, like, I don't know, just comfort and staying in there and not broadening his horizons. He seems like he actively went out to meet people of different background, which
Yeah.
I think is like a great thing. Especially if you're in a position of, you know, power and wealth. Like, definitely do that. You know, like, see how other people live, because not only will you appreciate your own living, but you can maybe, you know,
Understand
help
what they're
them
going
out,
through.
because they're yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like it. He's definitely like aware enough and like smart enough to know that it's like to have like gratitude and learn from other people, which is like definitely not a lot of us have that ability.
No.
But
There, I have met too many rich kids who have never been outside, and it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Mhm.
They'll see somebody on the street changing clothes, and they're like, why are they doing that? It's like, and I'm like, where else are they gonna do it? And they're like, I don't get it. And I'm like, you don't get it. Why don't you get it? It's so straightforward. Like, where else are they going to change clothes, put two and two together? They don't have any other place to do it. That's why they're doing it here.
Yeah. Well, I remember I had like a similar conversation with my sister, and she was just like, she's like, are rich people like indifferent? They don't really care about other people's like, you know, suffering or financial suffering? And I'm like, no, it's just they've literally never experienced those issues at all, so they don't even like think that like money can solve some people's issues. Like they've never had an issue where like, oh, I'm too poor to afford like food or clothes or gasoline or something like that. So that the thought of them giving money to help other people never crosses their mind, because it's not something that ever happens to them. So my sister
You know,
didn't
the
understand.
one sentence, the one sentence that infuriates me more than most sentences is the money can't buy happiness line. Because I feel like that just perpetuates that kind of thinking of like, oh, money won't solve this problem. Also, money won't this problem that I don't even know exists. And then if you do find out it exists, well, money won't solve it. It's like, no, they literally have this problem because we live in capitalism and they need money and they don't have it. Like, the money doesn't buy happiness line is about the diminishing returns of wealth once you reach super rich status. Like, once you have all of your needs met and all of your hobbies and goals, like, within reach, then you can't, like, it doesn't matter how much more you have after that.
You can't go higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go higher than everything. And that's where the money doesn't buy happiness thing comes from.
When you're all the way
yeah,
at the
it
top.
always gets twisted into the, oh, we shouldn't help the poor because they don't need money, they need happiness.
yeah.
Like, no!
Yeah. It's like libraries
That's
don't
not,
need,
no!
libraries don't need money and stuff like that. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, like, I grew up in the fucking library. That was where I, like, hung out with all my friends and did all these clubs and shit. Like, dude, libraries are awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely save those. Also, you look at shit like Amazon with their, like, oh, we made ebooks available to everybody. We're doing everyone a service. It's like, you know who else did that? Every library ever. You can walk into one, get an access code, and have an entire, well, library of books, audiobooks to read, listen to for free, just for existing. You don't have to buy shit. It's right there. You can rent it, read it, and then just give it, like, it's right there.
Yeah, I like
give
that.
it to libraries. Fuck
why
Amazon.
Yeah, that's why I like the archive.org website, because it's like just like a digital library. It's like you could just get whatever, pretty much any book you want, and just like rent it out like a regular library. So it's really cool, because having like books and knowledge behind like a paywall is like the most absurd, like, antithetical fucking problem with like books. It's like, oh, you can better yourself and you can become wiser and better, but you gotta pay money to do it. It's like, it's kind of like defeats the purpose. So
the same thing goes for academic papers. Like, I believe, I mean, not only are there like a bunch of like little groups that'll quote unquote pirate a bunch of academic papers and make it so that, like, you know, students can read them and use them for research and shit, because you know, that's what they're for, instead of paying $20 for, like, just to look at it, which is but I think there's also like there's proposal of law basically saying, like, hey, this is kind of messed up and this is really backwards, maybe we shouldn't allow them to charge for access to this information.
Yeah, no, I hate
you know,
that,
like they already paid for it with grant money. Like, they already, like, it's not like they need to recoup. This is literally for profit. This is stupid. We should not be doing this.
Yeah. All the like medical papers and all like the research papers that are like coming out and stuff, they're all behind like super expensive database paywalls. And it's like the only way to really have that's quote unquote like affordable is to go to school, and then they give you access to that. So, because it's like per person for like a year's worth, they want to charge you like 10 grand or something like that to access their
it's
the database.
insane.
Like, what the fuck? So, but there are some places that have like some papers that are free. I think one is like called like ResearchGate.net, I think, and they have like a decent amount of like papers that are free that you can read. But it sucks that like there's a huge paywall for like knowledge and information and stuff.
Yeah, and the one big major downside to that, not only because, you know, the obvious, there's also the fact that if you put truth behind something that's inaccessible, it just means that anyone can say anything.
You're like hailing Hitler.
No, like if you make it so that you have to like if you have to go through a bunch of hoops and a bunch of like bullshit just to get to something that's true, which you've already established in this like paper or whatever, then it just makes it easier for anyone to just say any kind of misinformation that's free, and misinformation becomes more accessible and easier to and more plentiful compared to things that are actually true.
Yeah, there's so much like crap
And
on
then
the
you-
internet that's just like low quality stuff, and you're like, this is not like all of TikTok. Throw it in the trash. It's worthless. There's nothing useful on TikTok. It's crap.
The only thing worse than an uneducated public is a misinformed public. Because if they don't know anything, it's easy to teach them. But if they already believe they know something, you now have to contradict, like you now have to prove them wrong, and also then correct them. Like you have to
Yeah.
undo the bullshit. That's why
Yeah.
misinformation isn't just like an annoyance. It's like an active step backwards.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's why papers behind paywalls is stupid.
Mhm. I definitely agree. Okay. How you guys feel about ending it here? You guys good?
I'm good.
I'm okay with
yeah.
it.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too.